Welcome back. It wasn't the smoothest path to the Democratic National Convention, but it wrapped up last Thursday with an enthusiastic endorsement of the Harris-Walz ticket for president. Adrienne Billings-Smith was among the delegates there representing Connecticut. She is the vice chair of the Connecticut Democrats, and she joins me in Studio A this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So the word we heard a lot over and over and over and over again was joy. That was in a lot of the speeches. It was in a lot of the signs. It was in the banners. You were there. Was that word appropriate, and why?
Absolutely. You could just feel it in the air. Everyone in the building had smiles on their faces. They were enthusiastic. They were excited to be there. It was something new and bold and energizing. So it was an amazing time.
Obviously, the planning for an event like this stretches back weeks, months, years even. And at the time it was being planned for a different candidate. And at the time, many people, in your position in the party, you have to be thinking, okay, we're heading to this event. This is the date. I got that, weekend, their week circled on my calendar. Is there some adjustment that has to happen among the delegation, among the supporters, to just kind of move past one candidate and get behind the next?
I think that's natural. As you said, we're expecting a Biden DNC, and we ended up with a Harris-Walz DNC. But I think everyone in the party understood and respected President Biden's endorsement and moving aside as something really powerful. So I think that kind of energized the party as well. I think when you have someone be able to do that, as a lot of people said, it's hard to give up power. And to be able to do that so not easily, right? It wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy decision for him, but to do it, and it seemed almost flawless, and everyone just went with the flow. So it was so nice to see that, and the party kind of go with the flow as well, and recognize we have someone who has been ready, who has been the vice president for 4 years. They wake up every day with an expectation to be the president, right? That's their job. And to be a part of that, I think everyone was really just excited about that moment.
We heard a lot from former President Trump. He used the word coup famously on Joe Biden being pushed aside as the nominee. Was there a reaction in the convention hall to those kind of comments that, for whatever reason, it was raised by his opponent that Joe Biden had been cast aside?
No. In that hall, all you could feel was the energy that we needed to move forward as a nation, and we had the right people there to do that. And when President Biden got up on that stage, there was an ovation. There's so much respect for him. He is one of the most consequential presidents that we have ever had and will ever have. The amount that he's been able to do over his time, just in general, 50 years of an elected official, I think everyone was so proud to see him up there in that moment, and we were proud as Democrats to be there with him in that moment.
Tell me about moving forward now at this point, what the job of the party is, especially in a blue state like Connecticut. There's not a lot of suspense about which candidate may receive the most support in the state of Connecticut, right? I don't think that's a controversial statement for me to make, but you're the vice chair of the Connecticut Democrats. What's the message to your folks moving, in those next weeks until the election?
Yeah, I think we have to keep folks energized, keep them engaged. I think you saw last week how many people just registered, young folks who were registering, making sure we stay engaged, we stay organized, we're out there. We have more than just the presidential election. We have our congressional elections and local elections and state elections happening. So I think that it's our job as the party to ensure that we always continue to stay on our toes and keep our folks involved in the process.
There was a controversy among the delegation. Dan Haar, our partner from Connecticut Insider, wrote about it. Isam Borai, one of the delegates, 37 from West Hartford, voting present, which cost the unanimous support when it was announced, also participating in unveiling a Stop Arming Israel banner. Was that much talk, and do you have any reaction to that? Is it the controversy that Dan talks about?
I think everyone has a right to their opinion. This is a democracy, and if we're not able to voice that, then we're in trouble as a nation. So I think in that moment there was no controversy. Of course she would like a unanimous vote, but the support that Isam has for Kamala, and Kamala's in her speech spoke about the ceasefire and was very strong in that speech about it. I have no trouble believing that at the end of the day, it was unanimous.
So you are in a role right now in your professional life dealing with DEI issues in West Hartford. In that, I know you're here in your vice chair role.
Correct.
But as someone who looks at those issues every day, to see a woman of color leading your party, is there a message as you talk to maybe our viewers or to Democrats or to undecided voters that brings to this ticket this fall?
I think, as you said, I'm here in my delegate role and my vice chair role, and as a personally, besides any job that I have, I think seeing a woman, we saw in 2016 we had a strong candidate, and now again in 2024 we have a very strong candidate, a woman of color. When you watched her family get up on the stage at the end of the day, that's an all-American family. It was every creed, every color, every gender, and that's what representation means. That's being able to look in and see the experiences and know that someone has one of the same experiences or like experiences as you. And I think that's so important when we talk about what we want to see as a nation, because we need that perspective. We need those ideas. We need those moments to reflect on the history of our nation. We are a great nation, flawed, but we are great. So I think when you see Kamala up there and her entire family together, right? And knowing about Doug and his ex-wife supporting her, those blended families are what that's the fabric of America, and all those cultures and folks up there for sure.
All right, well said. We had Ben Proto from the Republican Party on to talk about their convention. We wanted to have you back now to talk about the Democratic convention. We appreciate you being here and sharing a little bit of the experience, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you down the campaign trail.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Adrienne Billings-Smith, thank you for being with us. If you want to surround yourself with positivity, you just might want to go to a sporting event hosted by our next guest. We'll make that introduction in our Sunday Spotlight. It's coming up right after this.